right. Hello, everyone. We're so happy to see all of you here. And thank you so much for joining today's class. All right. We're so happy to see all of you here. So, we have a few reminders for today's class. So, kindly turn on your cameras so that we can make this time real fun and engaging. And also, kindly update your Zoom display name. If you're an alumni, kindly add alumni before your name. If you're a student leader, kindly add SL before your name and make sure that your name is written correctly so that we can take your so that we can record the attendance correctly. And that's it for me. I'm handing you over to Haley.
Beautiful. Should we give it like a minute or two and let people trickle in?
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
how for the folks who are here, how are we feeling today? Let's say on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 is like I'm over the moon, my life is amazing. 1 is like you don't want to know the answer to that question. Put it in the chat. I want to get a pulse check. A 4? Okay, I like that. I'm happy with a 4. Where I want to get a pulse check of where we're at. 5. Okay, this is good. Remember the first class? And I was like, how's everybody doing? And everyone was just tired. And I made you go around. Hello. As we're trickling in, go ahead and drop in the chat scale of 1 to 5. 5 is like I'm in the best mood ever. 1 is the opposite. Where are you at this afternoon? 4, couple threes. Amber, why are you at a 5? I want to know more. What's going on?
Excellent.
I don't know. I woke up in a happy mood and I've just been happy all day.
I love that. We'll give folks 1 more minute.
Okay.
We have a flex facilitator today. So you guys get, yeah, this is Opportune. She is going to run the class. I'll be here. I'll be in the background if you guys need me. But I wanna make sure we have more folks before I do like the full-fledged introduction. But maybe it's just gonna be a small group today. I guess we'll see. Okay, well, we wait for nobody. Let's jump into it. They will figure it out as they go. So Opportune is one of our flex facilitators. So she will be with you guys, I think 4 times, correct, over the course of the semester. So every once in a while, about once a month, I'm gonna bow out and she's gonna be able to teach class, which is amazing. You guys get a whole nother perspective, a different POV. She runs a business called African Chop in LA, which is a food truck. Is there other things with the food truck, or is that the primary business?
Well, it's one of the primary business. I
Okay.
have farms and manufacturing homes and stuff, right?
Oh my, okay. So you guys have a million questions you can ask her. She's been an
Yes, please.
entrepreneur for a decade. Okay. So
Right.
if anybody has any interest in business or entrepreneurship, she will be a phenomenal resource. She's taught classes at UCLA. So you guys get a chance to learn from somebody who does this at the collegiate level, which is really exciting. She's been featured in magazines. Like she's got a lot to offer. So do not hesitate to ask her questions. I know you guys are talking about taxes today, and I'm sure she has a lot of wisdom to offer well beyond that as well. So I will be quiet now and I will pass the buck over to you.
Thank you
Of
so
course.
much, Miss Haley. I really appreciate that introduction. That was so cool. I was like, who's she talking about? Is it me? Hi, guys. Hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you guys. And I'm so looking forward to, do this with you guys, learn with you guys. I don't think that I have a lot to learn from you guys as well. I was like your age, probably like another 2 decades ago. So it's really nice to always be around people that are young, vibrant, and very innovative. So, like she said, I've been doing African Chop for 10 years, and besides African Chop, and I love being a chef and a recipe developer, consultant. I consult for other people that want to start food businesses. So besides that, I love fashion. I have a passion for fashion. Now, cooking is a skill that God blessed me with, but I have a passion for fashion, and I have a manufacturing house in Lagos, Nigeria. So I go back and forth from Lagos, Nigeria now. We've had that brand for 5 years, and I'm getting ready to actually usher in a new brand. Another cool thing is I'm a mom, so I have a beautiful 12-year-old daughter, and I just got engaged. So I'm really happy. 2026 is about to be our year, not just my year, everyone's year. So I'm here to learn with you alongside you guys, and I'm also here to teach you whatever it is that you want to know. And let's learn together and grow together and be smart together. Okay. So it's nice to meet all of you guys, and over the 4 classes I have, and hopefully more in the future, we'll continue to progress together. All right. So, I think we're gonna go in and just dive into our the work that we're doing today. But before we even get there, I wanted us to today we're going to be talking about taxes. But before we get into taxes, let's talk about what you guys talked about in your last class, which is investment. And I love everything investment. I always say investment is the key. If you want to be successful in life, you have to be able to make some very, very smart investments. So I don't know, do you guys remember what you guys learned in your last class? Does anybody remember anything in particular that stood out for them from your last class? Do we have anyone willing to share?
Amber's raising her hand.
All right, Amber,
I
please go
think.
ahead
I
and
saw you
share.
physically raise your hand, I think.
I did. Sorry. I remember about like investments and our finances and how they
Okay.
can really go a long way, especially if you start early on, like early in age, and as you
Okay.
continue growing, and it's like just better to start in the beginning.
Yes, it is. I totally agree with that. Amber, that's awesome because I remember when I started African Chop, I was so scared. But then I think that the one thing that encouraged me to do it is because I don't know if you guys do it. I still do. I was looking at the people, the wealthy people, right? Part of the 1%. What I noticed is that they didn't just get rich. They started small. So Amber, you're right on cue. It's great to just start, and then the more you do it, the more you learn on the job. So there's a vast majority of investments that you can make in life, but then I always say the best investments start with the things that you truly are passionate about. That's always the great way to start investing. You invest in something that you can sell and something that you can use and sell, because the things that you love are easy for you to sell and invest and believe in. So thank you, Amber. Anybody else had something to share about investment before we, any hands? No? Okay. So let's before we actually start talking about taxes today, I have a really cool video I want you guys to watch before we get into like, the meat of things. I would love to show you guys this video. It's like if it's like when you're trying to learn a language, you have to start with the 101. So we have a 101 video that I would love for you guys to watch. It's not long. So just bear with me. Let's watch it. It's so cool.
Meet Ray. Ray is an incoming senior at State University who just finished up a summer internship at Corporate Co. Ray had a great experience and also made a lot of money. This is great news, but there is one problem. Ray has no idea how to pay his taxes, or even if the money he made requires him to do so. What should Ray do? Well, we've got him covered. Let's start with the basics. How does the US tax system actually work? Paying your taxes is a lot like filling up a line of progressively larger buckets. Each bucket corresponds to a specific tax rate, like 10%, and to a specific range of income, like 0 to 9,225. As your income grows, you fill up more and more of these buckets, called brackets, each one with its own tax rate. In addition to this, you'll also need to pay what's called a FICA tax, which is the flat 7.65% tax on any money you've earned. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, unfortunately, taxes in real life are a bit more complicated, so let's use a more detailed example. Let's say Ray made $30,000 last year. That's his gross income, literally the amount of money he made at Corporate Co before taxes. This number can then be refined into what's called AGI by subtracting certain expenses called adjustments, also known as above-the-line deductions. For example, if Ray paid $1,000 in combined student loan interest, his AGI would move from $30,000 to $29,000. This number can be then lowered even further if Ray takes an exemption. An exemption is a flat $4,000 reduction in AGI available to each taxpayer for himself, his spouse, and each one of his dependents. For example, if Ray takes his exemption, his AGI, currently at $29,000, will be lowered to $25,000. Ray can then lower this number even further by taking a deduction. Unlike exemptions, deductions depend on the expenses of each taxpayer. So what does that even mean? Well, there are several types of expenses, like charitable donations or mortgage interest, that can be used to lower AGI. These are called itemized or below-the-line deductions. If Ray lacks these specific expenses, he can instead take a standard deduction, which is a flat $6,300 reduction in AGI as of 2015. However, there's a catch. If you choose to take the standard deduction, you can't also itemize your deductions, so be sure to pick whichever one is greater. So, let's assume Ray takes the standard deduction. That means his AGI, currently sitting at $25,000, will be lowered to $18,700. That number is Ray's taxable income, literally the amount of money eligible to be taxed by the IRS. From there, if Ray plugs that number into the 2015 tax brackets, he'll find he owes about $2,300 in federal income tax. Considering that Ray started with $30,000 in gross income, this seems like a pretty good deal. However, there's actually one more tool Ray can use to save money: tax credits. Unlike exemptions and deductions, which lower AGI, tax credits directly lower your actual tax payments. For example, let's say Ray is eligible for a $1,000 tax credit. This credit can then be used to offset his $2,300 tax bill, leaving him owing about $1,300 in income tax, plus the money for the FICA tax, which will have already been automatically taken out of his paycheck by his employer. So that's the end of taxes, right? Well, not quite. Ray may also have to supplement his federal taxes with state income taxes. Thankfully, however, these taxes are calculated in a very similar manner to federal taxes and are almost always lower. Hopefully you and Ray now better understand how taxes work. Be sure to check out our next video, where we'll teach you whether or not you need to file a tax return, and be sure to check out our website, where you can find more educational material and free recommendations for great tax filing software.
Awesome. I know that that probably went over some of our heads, right? Me included. Like taxes is usually a time that I'm not looking forward to, especially when I've been working a lot all year. Taxes gets like really crazy. But we're going to get into it and understand what are taxes and why do we even pay taxes, right? Um, Tax is money that we have to pay. It's how our government has to run, right? Whether you're working or not, you get to pay taxes somehow. Not everybody gets the chance to file for taxes because based on there are different types of taxes. So based on where you live and where so where you are in life, your tax bracket is very different. So teachers, doctors, nurses, they all pay taxes, but they are different tax brackets. So the reality of taxes, everybody contributes to taxes. Everyone gets to, whether you're buying a soda, whether you're just buying food, you have to pay taxes. You know, there are different taxes, right? So I might not get federal taxes, but it's very possible that I get state taxes because California has a different system on how they tax each other. I don't know if anyone here has a job because most of the time when you work, you have to pay taxes unless Now I'm probably going ahead of you unless you go exempt. And now I'll tell you, you have to be smart about going exempt because they give you the possibilities of going exempt, but you still at the end might have to pay way more taxes than you would have if you just let the state and federal and everything just subtract on its own. So, is there anything that anyone wants to ask me about taxes? Are you ready to start filing taxes? Do you have jobs? Does anyone have a job now?
I see hands.
Okay. So, well, just Adam, you can Adam, you can go.
So let's say we don't pay taxes. Is there like such thing as like jail time for that, or you get like fired from your job? Like, what are the consequences for it?
Okay, so that's a great question. You don't get fired from your job, but you can get arrested based on accumulated taxes, right? Because you think about taxes like it's a responsibility because you have to look at the bigger picture. You're in a way you're serving people as well. You're helping the less, the needy, the people that can't afford to pay taxes. And so your tax dollars help with like healthcare, like a new bill to help like children that are not afford can't afford to get in a charter school. So most things like charter schools and some hospitals are ran on your tax dollars. So when you don't pay that, it kind of cripples the system. And so that's why you're here responsible for it. So we have to file our taxes every year. And after a period of time, when you don't file your taxes, then you're held responsible for that. And that's why some people go to jail for not paying their taxes. So yes, you can go to jail for not paying your taxes, but you cannot be fired from your job for not paying your taxes. We can take another question. That was a good question, Adam. Thank you so much for sharing. Go ahead, Genesis. I love this.
Yeah, I noticed that the video was made like 10 years ago, so I wanted to know if there's anything else that we should know about, any updates that might have been to like having to pay taxes or anything they haven't mentioned.
Okay, so the tax bureau is called often there's a nickname for the tax bureau, right? Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam has been the same for a while, but there, of course, there's some things that change. Like maybe like right now we have a new governance, right? I'll take for example right now we have new governance and there's something called Trump accounts, right? That's something new that some children, not everybody, can qualify for that. So, yes, there have been some changes. And as I always tell people, when you focus on voting, I don't know if you guys are old enough to vote yet, but when it's time to vote, who you vote kind of determines the type of laws that pass and the type of bills that pass that could affect your state laws, right? So things change, but it could vary by state. So in California, we could have our child tax is a certain amount, and maybe let's say in Minnesota, it's different. So the state taxes and the federal taxes. So depending on where you live, things could change. So I think over the years, I'm sure things have changed. I'm sure things have changed. Like we didn't have Trump accounts then. Now they're trying to start Trump accounts to help save some money for children. We didn't have that then, but we have it now. I think another thing that they do now is the kids, my daughter, like for example, my daughter got a tax return health form. So we can use that to file taxes as well. I don't think 10 years ago she never got that because she's 12 now. I didn't get that. So of course, there are new laws that come every year with each administration, depending on your state officials. So we have to pay attention to the bills that we vote for, and who you vote for determines the changes that happen in your state.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Genesis. That's a brilliant question. We can take one more question so that we can get into things. If there's any more questions, any more, one more. You guys are so smart. I love this. Curious minds. Anyone? No one? Okay. So let's move on then. Um, so we're going to go into our first workbook question. And I wanted us to, instead of us going into like interacting with in a break room, which we would do that, I wanted us to talk first and let's do the questions together if you guys don't mind. What would you guys want? Let me ask that. Would you guys want us to do the questions, the workbook questions together, or would you want to be in a break room together? If you think we should do it together, thumbs up. Together? Okay. Yay. All right. I love this. Okay, we can do it together. Awesome. So let's do the workbook questions together. Okay. So list 3 things you use or benefit from every day that are paid by taxes. Just 3 things. 3 things that you use. Do you guys want me to start? I could start. Okay, so the 3 things I want to say that I use every day. I use I want to say my credit card, the taxes there because I have to pay annual fees for that. So that's considered taxes because when I'm filing my taxes, I write off the things that I use my credit card to do it. Um, Another thing would be one thing I use every day is my ooh, my kitchen. My kitchen is definitely something that I pay, I use because when I file taxes, I definitely, my kitchen. And then one more thing. Mm, that's the other way around. I was going to say my daughter, but my daughter uses me. It's not the other way around. So what can I say? What would be the last thing that I use every day, use or benefit from every day? I would say my daughter, because to be honest, because she's a dependent, I benefit from that when I file taxes because to be honest, after like a whole year of taxes, that's a way I get tax credit for filing for my daughter. So my daughter will be one of the most important things because she actually gives me a tax break. My car, there's a lot of things. So I'll let you guys figure. So you go. So next, who's gonna go next? Volunteer. So go ahead, Genesis.
Yeah. I think one of them could, oh, correct me if I'm wrong, but are stamp cards paid by taxes?
Stamp cards.
Oops,
Mm-hmm.
wait. Maybe I got the name wrong. It's cards that are given to me like by my family because we might have like because we're low income.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
stamp cards. Are you talking
Food,
about the food
App card.
food stamp cards?
yeah.
Yes, because you get taxed on everything you buy. So yes, that's a good example. That's a perfect example.
Yeah, I like to use that. You also mentioned charter schools. I've been in a charter school, and well, I could say like a lot of the money that was given to them was from taxes. And
Yes, perfect.
the third, I could think of like a public park because I've noticed like here in the
Yes.
park, I think they built a new one. So yeah.
Yeah. Yes, yes, that's perfect, Genesis. Yes. Ooh, I didn't even think about the parks. That's great because they're
Mhm.
public and but your dollars go towards it. Anybody else? Let's go. Let's go. There's a lot more. Does anybody want to go? Should I call on someone? All right, Adam, you go. Since you're shaking your head, since you're shaking your head, I choose you. I nominate you. Go ahead, Adam. Tell us a few things you know.
Damn. Oh, so both of mine got stolen. I was gonna say school because I know school's um heavily reliant on like taxes, right?
Yes, yes,
As well as the like national monuments and like parks and such sorts.
yes. There's some
Mhm.
free. Yes, yes. That's
Now for
perfect.
for the third one,
Mhm.
yikes! I don't know. Um. Oh, public transportation, right? Yeah.
Yes, perfect. That's perfect. See? All right, who's next? Who's next? Go, Lizzie. Go, Lizzie. Okay, let's hear from you.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't whenever you pay taxes, doesn't it affect your social security for when you retire?
Does it affect it or does it
Like you
help
get
it?
money back when
Okay,
you
no.
retire.
Yeah, you do. You get money back. So paying your taxes, that's a perfect one, Lizzie. That's smart. When you pay your taxes, you're able to retire and get a 401k. So the taxes that you pay towards your retirement. So yeah, that's perfect. That's one. Okay, two more. You guys are so brilliant. Jessica, you go next after Lizzie. Lizzie, was that it or did you have something else to say?
No, I think that was it.
Okay, go Jessica.
I think healthcare is one of them, and I think in general, just like public spaces.
Yep. Yep. Healthcare is actually one of the best ones too, because we need to be checked up and and taxes definitely they're paid by taxes. So yes. Anyone else? Come on now. You guys have some really great answers. Don't be shy. Go, Dante.
I think libraries are sometimes funded by taxes.
Yes, yes, that's why we have a lot of those public libraries. So yes, they're funded by taxes, and that's very instrumental. We need that. So good job, Dante. Anybody else? Come on. You guys have some. I didn't even think about all these things you guys are thinking about. See, I told you guys you'd be teaching me. Okay, go, Amber.
So like the other ones have, like the other people have said, school. Um,
Mhm.
I go to a public school, so you know it's funded. The roads, because I'm pretty sure like our taxes pay for like new, like the building the roads, fixing them, and then
Yeah.
also medical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, healthcare, but the roads, Amber, that is great. Because can you imagine? We don't get a knock on our door that says, "Oh, you haven't paid for the roads," right? So that's how they collect your taxes, the state taxes, so that they're able to fund all these projects to help us live a better life. Because there are a lot of places that don't have this system in place and people don't pay their tax dollars. And then that's why you see sometimes some cities are very broke down. So that's perfect. You guys have been giving some really perfect answers. Who else? Let's get a few more. We have time. Come on. Let me hear. That was good, Amber. Roads. Yes. Anyone else? Let's get at least one more. Come on. One more. Okay, while you guys are thinking, how about shelters? Remember those homeless shelters? They have shelters for like women and stuff like that. Most of those things are paid with tax dollars too, especially if it's funded by the state. Those are tax dollars that pay that, and a lot of people benefit from things like that. They have a lot of to feed the hungry programs. Those are funded by tax dollars too. So things like that are really nice. They have neighborhood watches, like, all of that is like either way, it's like your HOA. Those it's a form of tax, but it takes care of us. So we now understand based on this work that it's important for us to pay our taxes. And that's why there's a fuss when we don't pay our taxes. That's why sometimes people go to jail because some people's taxes accumulate and they take so much and never give back. So when I'm not going to call names, but there are a lot of people that take and never want to give back. And one way or the other, it catches up with you. So if there's anything we've learned from this is that we should make sure we pay our taxes because sometimes it's bigger than just you and I, right? It funds all these things, your library. Some people are able to get free health care and all of that. So that's really, really useful. Does anybody want to say anything before we move on? Anyone? No? No? Thumbs down if we're done. We're done. It's okay. Okay, we're done. But you guys did brilliant. I love that. Very interactive. Now, see, this I don't know, but this is my first class, and I'm very proud to say that you guys have made it really, really fun. And we're not done yet. So you see that? So here I we they tell us like one of like the main taxes, right? The main taxes that we have to pay, and these taxes, it's very important that we pay them, right? It's very important that we take care of these taxes and make sure that we're not part of those people who aren't taking care of the things that they need to take care of, right? I don't want to be one of those people. Your income tax is very important. You really have to make sure that you pay your taxes. I have employees, and my employees they have to be deducted. Now, some of them don't want to. I had up to 9 employees, and most of them did not want to pay taxes. So this is a story. During the pandemic, a lot of people had to file because during the pandemic, when people had to file for help and stuff, I had employees that filed as if they paid taxes. And that was the whole fiasco, right? Because now they're reporting that I'm their employer, but they decided to go exempt. And because they were working as what I did for them is they worked as self-contractors. They didn't work so many hours. So it was up to them to file their taxes and pay their taxes to the state. Now, that's a big mistake that I did as an employer, right? I wasn't supposed to do that. If I was going to do that, I was supposed to make them do a paperwork that shows that that's the type of situation we have. Like when you drive an Uber, you're a self-contractor, so you deal with your taxes with the state and not Uber. But I didn't do that for my employees because I was also new in business. So I was new. And what happened is all these people that worked for me, all of them filed to get that money that the state was giving. Now it's not free money because that's tax dollars, right? And then the IRS came for me because I was their employer. So I'm the person who's depriving them now in the pandemic from not having a job. So it's very important that when we go into work, whether you're working for someone or you're opening a business, it's very important that you have your figure out income taxes due every year. Like you have to make sure that your income tax is taken care of. There's sales taxes, there's property taxes. Now, property taxes is on property investments or your homes. You have to pay taxes. That's why you hear people say, yo, you can pay off your home, but still have to pay because the land that your home is built on is not yours. So you pay taxes still forever on your home property. So the property tax is one of the most important tax to pay. That's what I would say because your house, my grandpa lost his house when he went into retirement because guess what? His property tax accumulated and he lost his house because just because you've paid off your house doesn't mean that you don't owe that property tax. Property tax is endless. You always have to pay for your property tax. Um,
Can we
Go ahead.
click the slide so that they can see the visual of all the different types of taxes that she's talking about? Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Thank you so much, Miss
That might
Haley.
be, oh, go back.
Right.
Yeah, this might be
So look,
helpful to get a visual of all of them.
okay, yes, perfect. So your income tax, definitely all these taxes, these are the main taxes: income tax, sales tax, property tax, payroll tax, and there are many other taxes. Like when you Like, remember how I said I pay taxes on my credit cards, I pay taxes when you go buy just juice. When you go, have you noticed when you go buy water, water is $5, but it's an extra tax on water. That's about, I believe in California now is either 2.99, correct me if I'm wrong or not, but you have to pay an additional 3.99 or 2.99 on water alone. So there are a lot of things that have taxes that you have to. And there's some states that don't pay taxes on food at all. There are some states, and that's why I said that every state has its own laws, but they are federal laws, so we all have to pay federal taxes, but our state laws vary. So there's someone in New York, they could have some state laws that are not the same as California. But I love California forever. I love California. So do you guys have any questions on understanding any of this? And let's figure it out together. Do we? Any questions? Any questions? Because we're getting ready to do the next workbook and we will do it in our breakout rooms so that you guys can interact and then come back and we chit chat a little bit more.
I want to make sure, I know this is like a lot of information to throw just on a page, so I do want to make
Right.
sure. Like sales taxes, like we all are paying sales taxes every time we're literally checking something out at a store, right? Like it's already built in. So that's something that we're all doing all the time. And then as you guys get jobs, you'll have payroll taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And often when you have a job, you will see those taxes come out. You'll get your money and you'll get an invoice and you'll see the deduction. So right here it talks about Social Security and Medicare. Those were some of the benefits that we talked about in terms of what
Yeah.
you get from taxes. That is automatically, they're taking that, the government or your company will take that automatically out of what they give you that month, so you don't have to worry about paying that later. That's automatically happening. You're getting a smaller amount in your bank account because that stuff's already taken off. That's the payroll tax.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different, I know there's a lot of different things going on here, but does anyone have questions about what any of these types of taxes are or how they actually work or when they impact you?
I think was it Amber or Genesis that talked about the Social Security. That's very important because a lot of people, there's some people that end up not having 401ks and having Social Security because they never paid into it.
Yeah, so how the Social Security works is every paycheck that you get, a deduction will be taken out and it'll go into like the giant Social Security pot. And then
Mhm.
when you get to the age of qualifying for Social Security, you'll get a certain amount every single month at that point. So we all kind of proactively pay into a pot, and then by the time we come of age, that's something that you can then take advantage of. Does that make sense how that works? So it's not like yeah, that's not, hopefully that makes sense. Cool.
Oh.
Okay. Go ahead. I just wanted to double check.
Go ahead, Adam.
So you said how like each paycheck, like some amounts get taken away and gets put into like the big pot of gold, right? From like when
Mhm.
you're retired. Does that one get taxed as well, or like is that one like tax free? Like, do I still gotta owe money for having that money saved?
Yeah.
So when it goes into a pot, that's like it goes into when they take the Social Security money out, for instance, that is being taken away from you. That's going somewhere else. So you don't ever have to, when you get paid that Social Security later, that's not something that you have to worry about paying taxes on again.
Yeah.
Um, there are other ways that we can save for retirement. So there's different ways of saving, which I think we touched on it maybe a tiny bit last week, but not in a ton of detail. And depending on what type of a retirement account that you put that money into, sometimes you pay taxes right away. And then
Mhm.
when I take the money out, I don't have to pay taxes. Sometimes you can put that money in before taxes, but then when you take it out, you have to pay taxes. So you kind of have some optionality depending on what you think is going to be most advantageous for you.
Right.
So that's different from Social Security. And that is really where you have some more optionality of like, do I want to pay the taxes now or do I want to pay the taxes later? Does that make sense? Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Marco.
That's a good question. Because there are different type of, oh, you taught the investment. There are different type of investments that would actually help with like, depending on where you invest, right? And it builds on your compound interest. So some people can actually, there's different ways for you to be able to use that pot money and re-put it somewhere so that it can give you more money when you're ready to retire. Thank you, Marco. That was nice.
We can move to the next question.
Okay. We so are we're doing we wanted to do the breakout room. Is that okay? Or do you guys, is that fine? All right, perfect. So let's do that. Yeah, okay. So all right, welcome back, everyone. So, how do we do in the breakout rooms? Who's gonna go ahead and share with us which tax they picked and explain to us what it's used for? Someone that hasn't shared.
Or Marco.
All right, go.
No, not him. No. Wait, did someone raise their
What?
hand? I was kidding.
No.
I was joking.
Oh,
I'm not gonna make him go like a third time. That would be crazy.
right, right. Okay. Let's not make
Someone who's not shared yet. Remember
yes.
like 2 weeks ago when we set our goals and we're gonna be engaged. Yeah, Jessica.
Jessica. Yay, Jessica. All right, Jessica, go.
I think that payroll taxes are important, especially
Mhm.
since like it takes care of like social insurances and stuff like that, especially in Medicare and like just healthcare in general. I feel like that's very important since we use it on a daily basis.
Awesome. That's great, Jess. Thank you so much. Anyone else? So we don't have to nominate you, please. You can do it. Is Maria smiling? Does that mean you want to go?
Yeah, I'll definitely go. I brought up sales tax.
Okay.
Um, I used to work out how
Okay.
those sales tax play part in when we export or get items such as from China, since the
Right.
US is very known for importing goods, and of course there are fees that we have to pay off.
Nice. Nice. That's a brilliant one. Okay. I love that. One more time. But if you guys see, you guys know this stuff. One more person. Does Natalie want to go?
Um, I said travel fees because like when we travel, like we have to like add our like luggages and like buy our seats, and then they charge us more.
Okay. So I think that that will fall under sales because it's like you're purchasing something. So definitely that's a tax that you have to pay, like when you buy tickets and stuff. So definitely. All right. Thank you guys so much. That's great. That was awesome. So, what do we need to know about filing taxes? When you file your taxes, federal tax returns and state tax return, especially for California, it means you're telling. Go ahead.
Can we go to the next slide so they can see what she's talking about?
Yeah. Next
Yeah,
slide.
perfect.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Haley. Miss Haley. Thank you so much. And especially with California, it means you have to tell the government how much you're making, how much you're earning, like so that, we know what to deduct, right? You might get money back if you pay too much. If you didn't, you might be having to owe money. So there are a lot of tools to help you, assist you in filing your taxes. The IRS itself actually online, you're able to actually file your taxes online by yourself. I have a friend that just did that. But like me, there's a lot of things I have to get tax credit for. I have a tax preparer that helps me with my taxes. So my taxes just got approved. Thank God I didn't owe this year, so I'm very happy about that. But altogether, the bottom line is we do need to file our taxes. Whether you owe or whether you're receiving money, it's very important that we file our taxes. Um, so moving forward, once you get your jobs, you're gonna be paying taxes. I don't know if you guys, I asked earlier if you guys are working, but I guess as time goes, I'll get to know you guys more. But like during tax time, when it's time for taxes, you get something called a W-2. It's a W-2 form. And in that form, it has a breakdown on how your taxes are figured out. And that's how we know, your the gross income, how much you made and what is deducted from that. And like Miss Haley was telling us earlier about, there's some taxes that are taken away, like Social Security, that are taken regardless, so that we have something to file for later on. Is there anything that you guys will want to know before we
Dante asked a great
anything
question.
else? Do you have a go ahead.
Dante asked a great question in the chat. He said, "Do you have to tell the government how many sales taxes you paid? How do you keep track of that?" That
Ooh,
is totally separate from your
income.
income. That so
Yeah.
when we talk about tax season, that's the money that you made. Sales
Hmm.
tax, that's always just one off. Like you pay it
Hmm.
when you're purchasing the thing. You don't have to track
You don't
any
have
of
to tell
that.
them.
Yeah.
No, you
When you're
don't.
paying, yeah. Our
You
taxes every year is like based on what we've made as income.
right. You don't have to report to them. Oh, I bought chips today and I went to McDonald's and we don't have to report that. However, I report that. So it's tricky, right? I have to report that I went to New York and I went to McDonald's, or I don't go to McDonald's. That was ridiculous. But because I'm a chef, so I cook a lot. But when I go out, I have to write that off because I get tax credit for writing off my flights, my restaurants. Like if I took friends and it was a meeting and we were having a business meeting, I would write that off because that's a tax write-off. But I don't have to, I'm only reporting to them because in a way, I want money back so that I'm not taxed for a lot of my expenses.
And that's because she's running a business.
And that's only
So
because I'm
the
running a
money that
business
she's spending to run her business, that comes out of, it means that
income.
it makes your profit less technically because
Mhm.
we're spending money on that. So then you end up having to pay less taxes because you have less income. Uh,
Yes.
Antonio is a great question. Is it better to
Go ahead.
overpay in your taxes rather than this specific amount?
Is it better to overpay? No. No. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. You never want to overpay the tax IRS because more than likely sometimes I don't think that you get your money back. So you have to be very diligent and when it comes to taxes, right? So you have to apply wisdom. And it's not like charity. It's not like giving,
You will get a refund. If you've
right?
overpaid, you will get a refund. I
Right,
have
but don't.
gotten refunds before. It does happen, I promise.
So for me, I'm always making sure I don't pay more than I'm supposed to pay.
I
So, but
think,
if you do, you would get the money back for sure.
yeah,
You
I
would get
think
your money back.
try to be as accurate as possible. And if you pay
Yes,
a little under, then when tax season rolls around, then you're gonna have to pay a little bit more. If you've
yes,
paid a little bit over and tax season rolls around, once you file, you'll get a refund. So the closer you can be,
the
the less
better.
stressful it is either
Yeah.
way. Um, but you'll get a refund if you do end up overpaying. Marco.
Go ahead, Marco.
All right, so I'm hearing like that you could underpay or like overpay on the taxes and not. Oh my goodness, on that and so like if you like, let's say you don't like fully pay like the correct amount, and let's say like you're like short by like a couple hundred, which would be really bad. What
Mhm.
I think I heard it called Uncle Sam. Will Uncle Sam just like put the bars on you right away, or like are they like do they work with you like if you went badly, they'll be like, oh, you know what, this I gotta file it, blah blah blah. Or they're like you're going into the slums right away. Boo,
No.
get out, woo, or like how would that work?
No, okay. So, Miss Haley, please chime in if you want to. They don't like you. We have to understand that we have a system that works to a certain, like it does work. So, say if that happens and they always alert you. You would know. Taxes, you get audited. There's something called audit. You get audited when your taxes are filed incorrectly. And let's say you file and you didn't know, then you get a refund, and then they find out because there's a lot of scrutiny that happens when you do taxes. They don't just lock you up immediately. You would have to be like very delinquent for them to lock you up. So it would have to take a lot of them trying to reach you out. They have told you so many times, like, you know what I'm saying? So there's due process. It just doesn't happen automatically, like, oh, you're going to jail. No, they make the corrections, they let you know, they inform you, they send you mails upon mails to inform you that you owe. And by the time you file your next taxes, they still inform you. So there's an informative process that happens, and you're informed about the mistake or the wrong filing, and then you get charged for that. And I want you to know this. People owe taxes, right? There are people that owe taxes that are not in jail. Why? Because just like anything else, you can call the IRS and have a payment plan for what you owe. So it's not like, oh my gosh, don't be scared. Like, oh, if I make a mistake, no. If you make a mistake or if you file and you end up getting more than you were supposed to, you're going to be charged for that for sure. Sometimes it can take 5 years for them to find that out, and they're still going to charge you. However, there are processes and resources that are put in place to help people pay what they owe. I don't know, did I answer your question? So you don't just go to jail, but
The
you can
one thing
set
that
up
I
a
would
payment plan.
the one that I would say is yes, you can always put a payment plan together. They will be more flexible if need be, right? We don't want to plan for that. Don't
Right.
but the
Don't.
important thing is you have to file your taxes. So you can get in more trouble if you are not filing the paperwork.
Mhm.
That's important. Whether you have the money to pay the taxes or not is a different question. You always want to file the paperwork. If you don't file the paperwork, that get you into more trouble.
Yeah.
So always go through that process for sure.
Yes. Always, 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 always make sure you pay your taxes. Don't wait to get to a point where you have to, that's not a good place to be.
Yeah.
That's
And by
not
the way,
good.
Opportune, we have 2 minutes left for this class.
Okay.
Let's
All right. It was really lovely doing class with you guys today. I learned a lot of things, and it was really great to meet each and every one of you. Um, the next class will be about problem solving, and I know you guys are going to ace it because you're going to be in best hands with Miss Haley. She's very brilliant. I was just telling her that. So I don't know, Beulah, do you have some announcements for them or
Yeah, we actually have a couple of announcements for them.
okay?
Right. And thank you so much, Opportune, for that discussion. So much insights. Even I learned a lot about taxes. Thank you so much for that. So before we end, we have a few announcements. So just a reminder about your workbook and survey. So the deadline to complete them will be this Friday at 5 p.m. And it would be a lot better if you complete them before the deadline so that you don't forget it and you won't miss your points. And then we have announcements for the field trip. So the good news is that we're extending the deadline to sign up until this Friday, that's February 6th. And the date of the actual field trip will be next Saturday, so that's February 14th. And the link to RSVP will be on the chat box. And This is gonna be exciting because you will learn a lot about finances. And this is very timely, especially right now that we're learning about taxes. So for sure you will learn a lot, so you don't want to miss this. And also for the Ignite Speaker series, so to those who attended the series last Monday, please don't forget to complete the survey so you won't miss your points. So the link will be on the chat box, and the deadline to complete them will be this Friday, so that's February 6th at 5 p.m. And then for the student leader form, so we encourage you to be part of this if you want to become a leader. Okay, you will have the privilege of leading classes, leading breakout rooms. So you can also inspire your classmates, inspire others by being a student leader. So the deadline to complete them, to apply will be February 12th. So that's next week, Thursday, 5 p.m. The link will be in the chat box. And then for the college match program, so this form will help us keep track with those who are part of the program. So if you're not part of it, so you don't need to worry about completing the form. And then for the Mustang immersive experience, so this is gonna be exciting because this is like Universal Studios experience. So it's gonna be fun and adventurous. So you can also bring up to 3 classmates or family with you. You will just need to sign up. So you will need to complete the form. And then if you want to bring someone with you, they will also need to complete the form. And then you will receive voucher codes on your email. And then for the first Gen U Career Institute, so this is exclusive for alumni. So exciting because it's now open. So this program is designed to support first generation college students like you in exploring careers and building professional skills. All right. And then for the student guide website, so this is your go-to hub for announcements, all right, and any updates. The link will be on the chat box. And lastly, if you have any concerns or questions about youth champions, please feel free to complete the form. We address concerns from Mondays through Fridays only. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for attending. We're so happy to see all of you here. All right, so that's it. Have a good one. Bye bye, everyone.
Thank
Thank
Have
you
a
you.
so
blessed
much.
weekend, guys. Thank you,
Thank
Miss
you,
Haley. Thank you,
Opportune. Thank you,
everybody. That's
Haley.
so great. Thank you, Basha. Thank you, Viola.
Thank you.
Bye.